Tundra Nation, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Tundra Tactical, we're diving into the deep, dark abyss of your gun safe to reveal the hidden truths about your personality. So sit back, open your mind to me, and let's start the show.
Now, open your mind to me, please.
All right, let's shine a spotlight onto the monolithic void that you lovingly refer to as a gun safe, and what should emerge from out of the shadows but none other than a Barrett M82. I mean, look at you, fancy in a firearm that's less of a sniper rifle and more of a seismic event. When faced with life's little dilemmas, your philosophy seems to be, when in doubt, hit it harder. Sounds like some Hammer of Justice stuff right there. Shockingly, subtlety is not in your vocabulary. In fact, actually, the closest you've ever gotten to subtlety was that one night at Bombshell's Gentlemen's Club outside of Shepherd Air Force Base when you dropped an entire paycheck as subtlety worked your main stage in the VIP room. I'll even bet you told her you were a pilot.
Do you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff? I know I do. If so, then check out TNVC.com for all your seeing stuff needs, because we'll be seeing you tonight.
This hit it hard until it works philosophy actually runs through your entire life. When you couldn't find a bottle opener and decided that a machete was the best way to open your Michelob Ultra, you swung that machete straight at the bottle cap like it insulted your mother. Unfortunately, your swing for the fences approach now has you learning to count in multiples of 9. Behold, our next safe is a shrine to the AR-15 where male spec is chanted in dimly lit rooms filled with the musk of CLP. I present to you our real estate mogul who's hoarded enough M-LOK accessories to make a Swiss Army knife look like a toothpick. So you fancy yourself the Punisher of Picatinny, huh? The Sage of Sight Alignment, blessed with more tactical nylon than a squad of Navy SEALs and the budgetary discipline of a drunken sailor in a strip club. Oh, and that aura of operator that you exude would have us believing that you could invade a small country if only you'd actually remembered how to, train. But let's dive into the psychological suppressive fire, shall we? You wield the most custom AR-15 this side of a Magpul catalog because apparently the standard issue is for plebs and you, sir, are no mere mortal. You're a patron saint of the direct impingement prayer circle. That's right, one whiff of that hops number 9 and you transform from Clark Kent into Sean Ryan. But deep down inside, where the firing pins don't reach, there is a secret. You have no clue what you're doing. You bedazzled your AR in more aftermarket parts than Liberace's piano, trying to hide your complete lack of skill under the expensive veneer of more and newer gear. For every new attachment, there is a tad more insecurity peeking out of your emotional camouflage. You figure, as long as you can keep using that Brownell's credit card to buy whatever Garantham says is cool, you're gonna be okay.
That is correct.
Speaking of money, do you guys want a good use for it? How about supporting a GunTube legend? Paul Harrell, my friends, is an icon, as I'm sure you know, in the 2A community, and recently he's announced that he's turning his channel over to his brother as he focuses on family and health. To help Paul, the GunTube community is coming together to promote this shirt as a fundraiser to him and his wife. Let's just say it's a good way of giving back to Paul for his years of content as he continues to fight cancer. Make sure to go get yourself a shirt, folks. A link will be down in the description below. Gotta love Paul. He's just the best. What do we got here sitting all the way in the back of the safe? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a talisman of manhood to a bygone era, the Colt 1911. A firearm that is so old, hipster historians have decided to gather around it and praise all of its failures as features you just don't get. The hipster owns a 1911 because, let's be honest, the whole high-capacity magazine thing is just too mainstream for their taste. Each round packs a punch that whispers, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." And we all know you picked up that Teddy Roosevelt quote from the back of a craft cocktail menu, not a history book. As a devotee to the Church of John Moses Browning, you clearly view modernity with the same disdain as a barista who got asked for a pumpkin spice latte. You cling to the all-steel feel like it's the last pair of authentic selvage denim jeans on earth. You love the fact that your favorite handgun's historical significance is as obscure as the microbrewery that only you know about. And just like your hand-cranked coffee mill and that typewriter you use for tweeting, you're convinced that the classics transcend time. Too bad Grandpa still thinks your hands are about as soft as a male model's. Hey, and then there's you, Mr. Glock Guy. You're about as sensible as socks with sandals at the company picnic. Slide open that organized Marie Kondoed gun safe and behold the epitome of utilitarian chic, the Glock. But here's the real question. Does it bring you joy? You, our pragmatic pal, our down-to-earth devotee of all things functional, have an undeniable crush on the Tupperware of handguns. You've slapped that perfection decal onto everything from your laptop to your toolbox because why settle for a personality when you could have predictability? You're the kind of guy who has a pie chart for your protein intake and a bar graph for your range time accuracy. At every social gathering, you're armed with a stat-fueled sermon about Glock's god-tier reliability, a gospel according to the handbook of nobody cares. Hats off to you, Practical Pete, as you upload another mag of no nonsense, ready to dismantle the myths of more fanciful firearms while grilling the perfect, evenly cooked steak. Keep singing the praises of simplicity, one consistent group at a time. Remember, in your world, flair is just another word for unnecessary. Boring. Peering down into the dusty dregs of your gun safe, we're greeted by the oppressive smell of cosmoline and the unmistakable rattle of an AK that can, by the way, double as a gardening tool in a post-apocalyptic world. Who'da thunk? In your eyes, rust isn't just oxidation, it's character, it's flavor, it's the spice of life on your steel, comrade. You, the staunch stalwart of the if it still shoots, it's still good doctrine, find solace in the clanking melody of your Arsenal Sam 7. Those who obsess over minute of angle precision, they also probably fuss over espresso foam art. They're not living, they're just waiting for their lattes to cool down. There you are, however, knocking back shots of Stolichnaya like it's Gatorade, bestowing whispered oaths of loyalty to the rifle that scoffs at the very notion of maintenance and spits on the grave of finicky precision. You've got the arsenal to hold your own Red Square parade. You nuzzle your Sam 7 embracing the good enough for government work accuracy because when the grid goes down, nobody's going to be squabbling about tight groups. Those persnickety sharpshooters seeking one whole groups are probably the same kind of folks who knit their own yoga pants and wax poetic about single origin coffee beans. Man, I am sure they are really fun at parties.
Hard no.
Our next gun owner is all about the high-speed, low-drag lifestyle, hanging his suppressed MP5 by its single-point sling on the door of his safe. He's a man constantly ready for action, even if that action is the sling carrying 7 pounds of fine German engineering right into his gentleman bratwurst every time he runs. Living like America's foreign policy under Ronald Reagan, our MP5 owner shoots first and asks questions during the reload. He clings to that godfather of subguns, the MP5, like it's the only thing keeping him from spiraling into a midlife crisis punctuated by CrossFit, a yoga instructor named Darren, and hair plugs. Dear MP5 owner, you're the kind of guy who thinks a fun run is sprinting through a mag dump. Your psychological makeup is a potent blend of John McClane and Sonic the Hedgehog. Not content unless things are exploding in slow-mo or you're moving at Mach Jesus. You chose the MP5 because it feeds your deep-seated need to compensate for those high school track medals you never got, and that it's the only relationship in your life that can keep pace with your commitment issues and your need for speed. Let's face it, if your psyche was a playlist, it'd be all power ballads and no smooth jazz. While others find peace in the methodical press of a trigger, you're figuring out how to mount a bayonet to a Roomba. You know, for efficiency, I guess. Our next patient in need of analysis doesn't keep his shotgun in a mere safe. No, his refined firearms deserve to be on display. It's in the land of tweed jackets and leather elbow patches we find our next specimen, Clay Pigeon Patrick, the genteel gunman with a penchant for all things traditional. There he stands, the embodiment of sophistication, the man who puts the gent in gentry, and cradled in his arms is not just any scattergun, but the Beretta 686 Silver Pigeon. Oh, Patrick, our lord of the manor, you know what spats are, and you've debated their merits over a snifter of brandy definitely more times than you've actually fired rounds out of the gun. Your shotgun sports aren't really about the clays, it's about the midday soirees and the endless chatter about the stock market and yachting. Your Beretta is merely a sophisticated prop that declares to the world, I'm here for the good booze, and please put it on my dad's account as you gracefully miss your third clay in a row. Hey, check out the cans on this one. That's the gasp you'll wheeze when you sneak a peek inside this next noise-oppressed meat locker we're calling a gun safe. There's a better chance of finding Jimmy Hoffa than a decibel over 120 in this joint. This place has got more muffled undertones than a mime's retirement party, and smack dab in the center, like a jewel in the crown of hush, is Silent Bob's trusty dust collector, the Seiko TRG-22. Who's Silent Bob, you might ask? Imagine if the phrase silence is golden got slapped onto a two-legged billboard with a penchant for guns and gassy side effects from too much quinoa. This guy could sneak up on a deaf bat. He gives new meaning to the term quiet professional, except the only thing he's killing is the mood at the party he's at when he starts talking about supersonic versus subsonic loads. Now, Bob's the kind of fellow who grips his Seiko TRG-22 like it's the last piece of toilet paper left in the stall. He's got more attachments on that rifle than a Kardashian has on social media. But let's talk about that infatuation for a second with Billie Jane in Sniper, which has gone way too far when your idea of custom art is turning your suppressor into a second-rate bargain bin Warhol. Bob, I've seen better artistry from a drunk elephant with a paintbrush. I mean, now everybody's wondering why it looks like you've got Randy Quaid's mugshot welded onto the end of a barrel. No, Bob, we don't think it's cool. And no, we're not going to give you a stencil of Charlie Sheen for your bipod. Give it up, bud. The only thing you're remotely assassinating is your own dignity. Whoo, boy, what is that smell? It smells like gangrene and burning cat hair in here. Oh, actually, it's just the black powder guy. Great, that dude.
Jesus Christ.
This guy always smells like a Revolutionary War reenactment and stale beer burps. Old Flintlock Francis is over here packing more powder than an 18th century apothecary. He's the patron saint of if it ain't broke, don't update it for 3 whole centuries because nothing says modern efficiency like a rifle you've got to reload like you're making a bed. Flintlock Francis, bless his heart, finds joy in the type of elaborate foreplay only a black powder weapon can provide. You've got balls, wads, patches, powder, and enough paraphernalia to make a TSA agent do a double take. His favorite dance? Well, it's the Manual of Arms with a rhythm that would make a sloth look like Usain Bolt. And if the stars align and Frank actually manages to pull the trigger within the same geological era, well, the resulting cloud of smoke could signal aliens from the next galaxy over.
God help us all.
But let's not forget the piece de resistance, Flintlock Francis's weapon of choice, the Blunderbuss. It's the mullet of the gun world, business in the grip, and pure chaos in the bell-shaped muzzle. This isn't a firearm, it's a statement piece that screams, I'm not so much into guns as I am barely controlled explosions. Also, I may or may not have scurvy. So what does this say about Flintlock Francis's psyche? Well, it's simple. He craves complexity in a world of quick fixes. He's the culinary equivalent of somebody who insists on churning their own butter. I mean, never mind the actual grocery store exists.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Each pull of the trigger is a miniature historical reenactment and a silent protest against the soulless, hurried world that has forgotten the ancestral art of taking a fortnight to load a single shot. So here's to you, Francis, because while the rest of us are ripping through magazines faster than a bored teenager in study hall, you're savoring every grain of black powder like it's a fine wine aged to perfection in the cask of your patience. Subscribe, folks. See you soon.